guys. I'm back. Thank you so damn much for all the feedback on my last video. I was so happy posting it, and then I was even happier reading all your freaking comments because you guys are just so nice. In case you didn't watch my last video, I'm just very, very happy to be here studying abroad and being here now, as in this day, in this life. And I mentioned that I wanted to make a video about studying abroad. Obviously, I've made a lot of videos about studying abroad, but today's video, I'm here to convince you, in case there's any inkling inside you to want to study abroad at some point, I'm trying to convince you that you have to do it. You have to figure it out no matter what. There may be obstacles, there may be difficult questions or things to figure out, but you have to do it. So I had you guys send me some questions to Instagram. This video is gonna be very general stuff, mostly about budgeting, how to afford it, yada yada. And I actually made a 20-minute video on my vlog channel, which will be linked in the description, of course. And I go into my personal experience so far, how's France been, how's the language been, and lots of other things. So make sure you go watch that video and subscribe to my vlog channel. But let's get into it. When is the best time to study abroad? I think the most common time is your junior year, but I'm a sophomore. This is my second semester. Some people study abroad as a senior, so it depends. The most important thing to do is obviously to make sure you're planning well and that you're gonna take all the classes that you need to graduate in time. So start looking early. As soon as you are interested, if you're a freshman, start looking right away, and then you have a lot more control over where you go and what kind of courses you take, and make sure that those fill up the required classes that you're gonna need. My girl Claire is asking, how much does this stuff really cost? Are there good scholarships? So this is what the bulk of this video is gonna be about, because I'm sure that most people want to study abroad, but obviously the financial aspects are a huge obstacle. So your girl, Tiffany here, I'm not a well-off bitch. I don't have a lot of extra money at all. I am getting a lot of financial aid, but I'm also taking out a lot of loans to get through school, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys are in a similar situation. Basically, there are so many different kinds of programs and organizations that you can work with that will work with your financial needs. So for me, my priority was, I need this to be affordable. I don't have extra money to just drop. So I picked ISEP Exchange, because the way that this works is I pay the exact same thing as if I were going to my school this semester still and living on campus and eating the meal plan. That is how I pay for it. Therefore, all of my financial aid from the school and federally and from the state and whatever still applies. So it's the exact same cost as a usual semester on campus would be for me. So a program like that was great for me because I needed all those financial aid things to still be usable. Some programs you can't use your financial aid for, but it may be cheaper or a better scenario for you because you can pay for it in different ways. And then of course there are study abroad specific scholarships, private ones. Your school may offer different ones. The thing is, all the girls that I know who are Americans using ISEP, the same program as me, we are all paying completely different costs to be here in the same program in France. So because we're all doing the exchange program, we're just paying exactly what we paid at our home schools. So I would recommend that for anybody, because if you can afford, if you're currently affording to go to your university at home, you can afford to study abroad. The only difference may be if you live at home and commute, so you're not paying for those living expenses currently, but you would have to pay for those living expenses while you're abroad. But once again, that's the time to consider any loans or scholarships. I would recommend for Pell Grant recipients, which is a low-income federal grant, which I receive, apply for the Gilman Scholarship, which is a specific study abroad scholarship. I applied for it and didn't get it, which sucks because I really could have used the money, but I think it gives you up to $5,000 for a semester and less for shorter, more for longer, whatever. The thing about the Gilman, which is probably why I didn't get it, is that it tries to get underrepresented people to be able to study abroad, such as underrepresented majors like STEM majors who traditionally don't study abroad as much as other majors, or non-traditional locations. They consider Western Europe, such as France, to be a more traditional location to study abroad. So the combination of my major and the fact that I came here to France is probably why I didn't get that scholarship. But anyway, it's worth applying to either way. You write a couple essays, you can work with your school's study abroad advisor, and if you get that scholarship, that can help you out a ton. I don't want to talk about this for 10 years, but basically go to your study abroad office, talk to them, tell them what your needs are, and they can tell you what partnerships they have, what scholarships they have, what organizations the school works with, and you can figure it out. And then the second part of Claire's question was about credits, to make sure that your semester abroad is productive and that you're taking classes that will actually help toward your major or your degree. This requires some planning. Sometimes people can study abroad and fulfill like elective requirements or like humanities types of things, and it may be more difficult to fulfill those major requirements while studying abroad, but it is possible. So once again, you just have to do a ton of research, look at a ton of different programs, look at specific schools and what they offer to students like you, because there's so many possibilities. Next question. I'm doing a year and I was wondering if you would recommend working while abroad because I'll have zero source of income, which is terrifying. Yes, if I were studying for a year, I would be working somehow. For my visa process, there was like one separate thing of paperwork that I would have had to do to get the visa to where I could work. So once again, look into your visa application process, look into your country's, foreign student rules and laws, because you could easily get a job. Say me, like I could have gotten a job, I don't know, tutoring people in English. But yeah, I think if it's possible and if the thought of having zero income scares you, which it would scare me too, look into it, and it's definitely possible to find a job. Also, I have so much spare time, especially if I wasn't doing YouTube, and YouTube is my income right now, my only income. If I weren't doing YouTube, I would have lots of hours free and way less money. So yes, I would say try to work if you want to. Okay, now we're getting into budgeting questions. Outside of tuition, how much money would you need to survive? Is it hard to budget while you're studying abroad? I actually think that it's not that expensive. Also, this totally depends on where you're going, because the currency between US dollars or wherever you're coming from and wherever you're going is gonna make a difference. Right now, the euro is a little bit stronger than the dollar, so it has a little bit of an impact for me. Basically, it depends what your lifestyle is. If at home you're very frugal and good with your money, you'll probably be the same while you're studying abroad. Maybe you'll splurge a little bit more here and there on food or souvenirs or something. But basically, it's the same as your life at college at home. You're gonna have to buy groceries. You're gonna go out and buy food and drinks. You're gonna wanna go shopping sometimes. So it's really not that much more expensive. Probably where the big expenses come in are traveling, which you'll probably do, but I'll talk about that in a second. As far as like having the dedication and motivation to your budget, that's all up to you. Next question, veganism in Europe. I actually talked about this in my personal video, so make sure you watch that one, because I don't have time to explain it right now. How much did I save before going, and good credit cards for traveling as a student? So this is huge. Saving up money before you study abroad or credit cards. Personally, I already had so many expenses in these past few semesters that I didn't have the chance to save up money. But I do know some people who just worked a ton last semester and saved up a few $1,000s to bring, which is really nice because then you just have spending money. Some people have parents who are gonna send them with a couple $1,000s or just give them money whenever they need it. Obviously this is personal. If you are able to save up money and that's what you wanna do, then I would recommend saving as much as you can. But credit cards are how I'm surviving. I had to take out some extra loans to cover the extra costs for my dorm and meal plan back home to do my exchange stuff. And then I got a little stipend of 1,200 euros from my program. So that's kind of what I've been using day to day. I have a French bank account, so I just use my little debit card for that. And then I also have it's a Southwest Flights rewards credit card, but the good thing is that it has a zero foreign transaction fee thing. So if you do have a credit card that you're planning on using abroad, make sure you get one that has no fees, because every time you use a credit card abroad, usually there is a foreign transaction fee. So get a card that doesn't have those so that you can save money. A lot of people are scared of credit cards, but I think especially in studying abroad for a short amount of time, like one semester, I think it's worth it to, build up maybe a little bit of a balance, but then, you'll be able to pay it back when you get home. And otherwise, you might not have any money, so I don't know. I would say this is the time. This is the time that a credit card comes in handy. You're obviously gonna have to like pay the bill minimum or whatever, but it's all up to you. Giving financial advice is hard because everybody has their own situation. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about is traveling cheaply, weekend trips, navigating transportation systems. This is probably the most exciting part of studying abroad. I love where I'm at because there are so many cool cities within a short distance. Personally, I've been using a company called Flixbus. There are tons of really good cheap bus companies, and it's like a tour bus kind of. So not like a public bus, but like a whatever. They don't have these in the United States, I don't think. But say for Flixbus, they have so many, like you can go anywhere in like Western or Central Europe via Flixbus, and it's very cheap. Like I'm talking anywhere from like 10 to like 20, 30 euros for a trip. That could be like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 8 hours, you know? So I would definitely recommend trying to travel by bus whenever possible. Trains are pretty expensive, so I wouldn't recommend that, at least in Europe, and then for like most of your traveling. Flights are of course sometimes cheap. If you check sites like Ryanair, that are what study abroad students always recommend, you can find pretty cheap flights, like as cheap as like 20 or 30 euros, which is amazing. But obviously then you have to get to the airport, and there may be additional costs for checking bags if you need to. So yeah, basically buses are my big tip, and then also of course hostels. Check out hostelworld.com. That's where you can read tons of reviews about different hostels in a city and plan a trip and buy your stuff, your bed in the hostel or whatever. I've still only stayed in one hostel, which was in Barcelona for 2 nights, but also I'm a huge fan of Airbnb. I absolutely love Airbnb. So you can either find like just a couch to sleep on, or a private bedroom, or an entire apartment, and you can split that cost with some friends, or just go alone, you know? There are so many different ways to plan a trip, but weekend trips are definitely really fun. And yeah, when you're traveling with people, stay in one place together, and then you can end up spending like 20 euros a night or something to stay in like a nice, comfortable, safe place. I'm gonna put my Airbnb link in the description. Give me some free credits. I'm pretty sure if you sign up with my link, you'll get some kind of something. So if you've never joined Airbnb before, I would definitely recommend that. And book a trip, dude. I love Airbnb. It's great. Do you recommend going to a country where you are fully dominant in the language, or challenging yourself and potentially failing the semester, and going to a country where you speak kind of an intermediate level of the language? This is something that I'm interested in because obviously I'm here in France for French. My experience is very different than people who are studying in a country where they speak their native language. Of course, it's your personal choice, but I would recommend anybody who's still studying any kind of language, even yeah, if you're like a beginner, intermediate, Spanish, French, whatever speaker, I would definitely recommend studying abroad and at least being able to take a French or a Spanish or whatever language class while you're there. But really, this experience of being in the country of the language that I'm studying is amazing. So I would recommend that to anybody. It's worth the work because you're gonna get so much more out of it than you could possibly get studying the language at home. Okay, now that I've talked for forever, that's all for now. I hope that this helped you, and if you have any more questions, please ask me anytime. Basically, I want to emphasize again, if you're considering studying abroad, please do it. You will not regret it. You can figure out the finances. I think it's worth it to take out some loans, or, you know, build up a little balance on a credit card to have like the best semester of your life, you know? So, thank you guys for watching so much. I'm gonna go watch that second video on my vlog channel. Okay, thanks, bye.